Good morning and welcome to today's morning message. I have been trying to record this video for a minute now and it keeps going wrong. So I hope that this is the take that finally goes well. So, if you're new here, these are messages I channel 4 times a week and I share publicly to keep you and me aligned with the universe in case we happen to be on the same frequency. The way that it works is I ask a question that I feel like I need to ask myself, pull the tarot, analyze it for myself, and then I turn my notes from my own reading into like a 2,000 word general reading over on Medium. And then here I take the Medium reading and I turn it into a video in case you're also like me in the way that you prefer to listen to this type of content rather than hear it. Isn't that so funny that I prefer to write it, but I prefer to hear it? Whatever. Basically, if you're looking to reprogram your subconscious mind, the easiest way to do that is to listen to this type of content while doing any kind of bilateral movement. So that's moving your body on both sides at the same time. I like to color in my little coloring book. That's my favorite thing to do. For you, it could be anything. I'm making this video in case you like to absorb information in that specific way. And just an FYI, I am reading the written reading that I posted on another website. So at times I will be looking at my computer and not at the camera. But it is all work that I have done. Let's see, I think I got everything. Of course, if anything here resonates, we're on the same frequency, which is amazing. And the best way that you can help me out in exchange for doing this work is just leaving a comment. That's free. There's other options as well, obviously, but like the most basic thing, the easiest, the free thing that you can do is just leave a comment. And that helps me out in so many different ways on the back end. Like you could not even imagine how much just one comment changes things. So let's get into it. Today's question is, how can you be more of yourself? And to answer this question, I pulled 2 sets of cards. So one set is what you need to do more of, and the second set is what you need to do less of. I think that's everything. Okay, and we have a back of the deck card, which if you're new to tarot, you don't have to know anything about tarot to listen to these messages. It's really not that important. But the back of the deck card, just to explain what it means, is it's the underlying subconscious energy that influences all of the rest of the cards in the answer. So the answer will say one specific thing, but underneath that, the source energy for all of those smaller messages is the same. That energy today is the Five of Cups. I don't typically use these cards, but today I did because basically what this represents is the overall subconscious energy tying the entire reading together. And today, that theme is grief. Something you're doing or have done didn't turn out the way that you planned, and you're struggling to let it go. You're bathing yourself in all of those harmful emotions that really scratch that itch like nothing else can, like self-pity and regret. And you know exactly what I'm talking about here. You think that the past says something about your inherent value today. So you're struggling to look at the past objectively, learn the lessons it offers you, and move the fuck on. With gratitude and love, of course, but I don't feel like me mentioning that gratitude and love is really going to help you with the frustration that you're feeling. What if you decide that none of it matters? And today you can start fresh. Like, fuck it. What you tried did not work. Back to the drawing board. Why does this one failure have to be such a big fucking deal? What purpose is this self-persecution serving? Are you perhaps using this because you're scared of what life might ask from you if you did not have this grief to hide behind? Next, we have what you need to do more of. And for that, we have Tower reversed, Knight of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, Justice. And again, you don't need to know jack shit about tarot. It's not important. But if you know about tarot, it might be interesting for you. The summary is you need to break free from the pieces of the past and all of those weird little rule books that are governing the way that you live your life. And be consistent. And I mean that in 2 different ways. The first is daily repetition, like doing the same thing at about the same time every single day. And you need to be consistent in making sure that your behavior matches what you know that you need to do. Explore more of your curiosity, your desire, your sexuality, creativity, imagination, intuition, all of those wonderful things. Be willing to let yourself into your feminine energy and see what's going on in there. Be more willing to be a beginner and let other people see you being a beginner. You have this pattern of never letting yourself be seen unless you can be seen being an expert, and that's not helping you. You need to get better at tolerating uncertainty. Basically, you don't have to know everything all the time. You don't need to have the answers. You don't need to know what comes next. You don't need to know how these things are going to end. You can just let it be what it is. And that's a skill that you're not very good at. Peace and love, right? Finally, you need to do more of embodying right now the mindset that the ideal version of you has. You keep putting off your happiness and like your maturity for some future day in which everything's perfect. You don't need to do that. You can be happy and mature and like self-authoring right now. Like who's gonna fucking tell you to stop? Who cares? Who's in here looking? It's just you. It's just you who knows, right? You can do whatever you want in here. What I'm saying. All right. Tower reverse. Your manifestations have been trying to reach you, but you're not letting the universe empty your hands so you can receive them. So imagine that you really want a pie for dinner tonight. Wouldn't that be nice? And so you bake a pie and you take it out of the oven and it smells really fucking bad. It's super burnt. And somehow in the middle, it's half baked. And you think to yourself, like, damn, that really sucks because I really wanted to serve pie with dinner tonight. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, your neighbor knocks on your door and has an extra pie and would like to give it to you. And you're there holding your pie like this, looking at her, offering you a better pie, but there's nowhere for you to set your pie right by the entryway of your house, right? So you're just like sat there holding the pie, like, oh gosh, where am I gonna put this pie? And like, obviously you could throw it on the ground, right? And you think about that, and then your immediate thought is, no, that would be such a waste. Like at the end of the day, it's still food. And so you're just stuck there holding it, and then your neighbor is like awkwardly like holding the pie, waiting for you to take the damn pie out of her hands, like, and you're there. Do you want the damn pie or not? Right? Who gives a fuck if the ugly pie is wasted? You weren't going to eat it anyways, right? Maybe you would have left it on your counter and like promised like do something with it until it got old enough that you could feel justified in throwing it out, but you weren't going to eat that pie. This is not about pie, obviously. It's about wanting one life and having another. You have to take a look at your priorities because you are so bent on being the good, proper, perfect little girl or boy that you're letting your obsessive need to be perfect take priority over you actually getting what you want. And let's say like that new pie was like $10 million. Would you have the courage to chuck that ugly pie to the ground as fast as you possibly could, and no matter what mess it creates, just let it be on the ground? If you want to change your life, you must first always go through a period of internal anarchy first. The person you've been, like the internal rules, the priorities, the ideas, the preferences, the choices that you've made up till now are no longer cutting it. And if the person that you were was enough to get the life that you want, don't you think you would already have it by now? Do you genuinely think that the most glamorous, luxurious, pampered version of yourself thinks, feels, and makes choices in the exact same way that you do right now? Obviously not. That version of you would be willing to throw the old pie on the ground as soon as it saw the new pie and make a huge scene about it because they know better than to accept some half-baked version of what they actually want. That change is difficult, right? But the outcome is hopeful. Next, we have the Knight of Pentacles, which in a word is talking about responsibility. So I know the previous section was a little bit dramatic, And that was on purpose, right? I want you to understand just how important the internal chaos stage really is. What was that accent? But this card pulls your feet back down to the ground, but it doesn't really make the previous section null, right? Don't reinvent the wheel. You're trying to do something that has been done millions of times before, and you're worried you're not different enough to stand out from the crowd. Okay. Who gives a fuck? Learn to do it first, and then you can worry about making a name for yourself. It's like you're trying to write a book, but you don't know how to type, right? And instead of learning how to type, you're there trying to become the Andy Warhol of the literary world. You don't need to be Andy Warhol. You need to learn to type. Commit yourself fully to getting what you want, and take that commitment and turn it into a daily routine that you follow day in and day out, no exceptions. There's nothing wrong with taking the path most traveled. If it works, it works. And isn't that what you want? Are you really going to insist on doing it as the standout of the season? Do you want the thing, or do you want to gratify your ego's need to be special while you're getting it? Your insistence on being perfect, interesting, unique, and attention-grabbing is preventing you from actually doing the thing. So set a goal for yourself to have one measurable outcome every single day, and it does not matter what it is, but you need to be responsible for your progress here. And the best way to do that is to commit to the repetition of putting the bricks in place every single day. So get to building. Next, we have the Ace of Wands. I know advice like what I just gave you is boring, right? It's so fucking annoying when the cliche turns out to be true. Like the advice that they've been telling you to do for your entire life is all of a sudden what you actually need to do. I get that. This card is trying to tell you that it does not have to be as boring as you're anticipating that it might be. You are allowed to be passionate about what you're working toward. In fact, it's better if you are. Thinking about the end result should get your heart all fluttery, all those great feelings. But day to day, you need to have both of your feet on the ground, your ass sat at your desk, and ready to work. What I'm going to say next is an energy that applies to both the short term and the long term. Creativity is king. Be brave, find your own voice, develop your own vision, be different, and let yourself be different, but don't force yourself to be any more different than you're ready to be. Baby steps, right? Every day, aim to be 1% more authentically you, and that's enough. And stop planning. I know, counterintuitive. But haven't you seen how planning is an endless time suck? Like 70% of the time that I've spent planning, I've literally just thrown down the toilet. You need to act, act, act. Two more things to keep in mind with this card here. The breakthrough that you're waiting for is just around the corner. Don't focus on that. Be excited for all the opportunities around you, rather than focusing on all of the opportunities that you fucked up. Finally, we have justice. There is no such thing as effort in vain. Everything you're learning, practicing, and implementing right now, even if it doesn't generate an immediate result, there is nothing you've ever done that isn't just practicing some deeply important skill that you'll need later on. So you know that Steve Jobs dropped out of college, right? When he dropped out of college, he started auditing a calligraphy class at his college. That's important because years later, when he went about developing his first computer, he decided to put in different fonts based on what he learned in his calligraphy class. The Windows computer did not have a second, third, fourth font until they copied them from Apple. Let me dumb that down. Steve Jobs followed a random side quest that didn't make any sense at the time and later became the only reason that we have fonts. Can you imagine a life without fonts? You're doing your own little side quests right now. They'll come back around. You don't have to understand right now why you feel the urge to do them. You just need to trust the process. if you're honest and have a good work ethic, success is inevitable. Maybe it'll take 2 more months and maybe 10 more years, but if you really want it bad enough, does it matter how much time passes? Because that time is going to pass regardless. Are you really going to give up because it's taking too long? And then you're going to do what? Get paid to build somebody else's dream? Okay, sure. Yeah. One more thing. The grass is not always greener. All those people you're comparing yourself to, you have no clue what their day-to-day reality is like. You see the highlight reel and you use that to make assumptions about what you don't see. Can you guarantee that those assumptions are accurate? Probably not, right? So focus on you. What progress have you made recently? What small wins can you celebrate? And in what ways are you better than you were this time last year? It's you versus you, always. But we'll come back to that idea in just a second. What you need to do less of. Here we have the 7 of Wands, 10 of Wands, 5 of Swords reverse, Ace of Swords reverse. Again, you don't even know what that means. The summary. You need to stop trying to get it right. And you need to stop immediately trying to solve every single problem that you have. Yeah, that's a big one. You also need to stop rationalizing chronic and endless self-protection, defensiveness, proving your own value to other people, or carrying responsibility that is just genuinely not yours to deal with. And you also need to stop overthinking, second-guessing yourself, letting yourself fall into analysis paralysis, and guarding yourself against anything that could possibly go wrong, strategizing endlessly instead of taking action, and censoring everything that you naturally feel the urge to do. That's a lot, right? More. You also need to stop the me versus them mentality. We're going to get into that later on. And stop banning certain parts of yourself to the shadow of your mind because you think they're bad or shameful. Again, big concept. We'll get into that in a minute. Now we have the 7 of Wands. Stop focusing on all the ways in which you're struggling. Energy goes where attention flows, and you're observing the struggle, the roadblock, the gap between where you're at and where you want to go. And every second your attention spends there, the more energetically real and solid those things become. Perceiving an obstacle for an hour makes it much more impassable than simply noticing it for a split second and letting it go because you trust yourself to figure it out. You've made mountains out of what could have just been a passive observation. You're also caught up in defending or proving yourself to the critics, except what critics? The invisible peanut gallery inside of your head? All those nasty things that you assume people are saying about you? Oh, right. You mean those projections you're making. All those judgments that you're feeling come from one source. That's your own head. Here's one thing that might help with this, because I get it. It's a hard thing to break. Stop thinking in me versus them terms. Competition is highly rewarded in our society, and it's hard to turn that urge off, but it's hurting you. You see all your relationships as a subtle battlefield in which either they win or you do. And that's a scarcity mindset. Are you scared that if they win, there won't be enough left over for you to also win and also be celebrated? Is winning and celebration a finite resource? Doesn't the world desperately need more reasons to celebrate? So why are you attempting to bottleneck joy? It's you versus you. You versus who you were yesterday, last week, last year. Are you better than you were yesterday? That's a win. If you want love and celebration, you need to be someone who loves and celebrates. You only attract what you are. So to be loving and celebratory, pray for the happiness and success of every single person in every single room that you're in. Winning and success are not finite resources. So loosen your grip, Stop trying to win over everybody that you know and embrace playfulness again. 10 of Wands. You can overcome obstacles just by taking your attention away from them. So remember how we said that you're building mountains out of what could have just been a passive observation? You can also use that idea to your benefit. If you perceive a mountain, take your energy away from it by perceiving the opposite of a mountain. This is tricky, so let me explain. I realized recently that my mountain is validation. This is lifelong, but has been most recently triggered by content creation. So basically, I'm not seeing the engagement that I want, and this really bothers me. So how do I focus on the opposite of a lack of validation? I have 3 options. I can focus on the wonderful opportunity that I have to unlearn my dependence on external validation and deepen my connection to myself. I can focus on all the moments in the past in which I have felt validated, or I can stop checking metrics at all and let the creation process be the priority of self-expression above all else. Meaning, did I create something that said something real? And if yes, okay, I did what I needed to do. Take that example and extrapolate it to whatever you're feeling. Focus on the lesson or the opportunity to overcome the blockage. Focus on your track record of success with the whatever it is, and change the angle with which you're measuring success here. This is important because you are the only one responsible for your entire life. You can't run from that truth, right? You know that whatever you assume eventually becomes true. So why are you choosing to assume you're incapable of moving the mountain? Assume the mountain isn't even there to begin with. It is, after all, an illusion. It's a bouncy house facsimile of a mountain rather than actual solid stone. And also, trust your future self, because future you is not an idiot. You're over-planning, over-preparing, and overthinking because deep down, you're worried that the future you is too much of an idiot to figure out their own problems. When has it ever been true that the person you are today is dumber than the person you were yesterday? Future you will be even more capable than you can possibly imagine. So trust in that. Solve problems that exist today and let the problems you think might appear tomorrow be tomorrow's problems. One final message with this card: less responsibility, more play. You're probably imagining a lot of the responsibility that you feel, or at the very least, you're taking it much more seriously than you actually need to. So let life be light, and let life be like a sandbox video game or an inside joke between you and God. Stop taking everything so seriously. Like, unfurrow your brow. It's okay to play. Next, we have the Five of Swords reversed, and this has a very similar energy to the rest of the cards in this pile. So this message is pretty short. If you're in a me versus them mindset, your priority is winning. And winning means making someone else a loser. You being right means someone else is wrong. So why does your feeling good rely on making someone else feel like a piece of shit? Can you see why this isn't helping you? Stop focusing on everything that might be lacking and start focusing on how you can positively contribute to the community, both around you and at large. Finally, Ace of Swords reversed. Stop identifying with being lost, confused, unsure, whatever else you're identifying with, and don't ever let this phrase cross your lips or take root in your mind ever again. I just feel so lost. You're not lost. And you know that you're not. You're not lost because you already know exactly what you need to do, but you're not fucking listening to yourself. You know. You always know what the best next step is, no matter how small it may be. You know you need to go to bed and get a full night's rest, but still you keep scrolling on TikTok. You know that TikTok in bed is a terrible idea, but still, as soon as you lie down, you're there, aren't you? You know that you should take a breather. You know when you should rest, pee, eat a snack, take a step back, push forward. You know, always. But you don't let yourself trust the part of you that already knows. You're waiting for someone else to come along and give you permission. That's your problem. You don't know what to do with freedom. You're too caught up in what they might think and what they might say and all the ways that might pick you apart on a public stage. Who? And why do they matter? Stop identifying as lost. You attract what you are. If you declare yourself lost, you'll attract a life that feels like a maze. Work methodically. Follow those moment by moment nudges trying to get you to parent yourself. Take baby steps towards the life that you want. Every moment, minuscule inching forward. Slow down to speed up. Don't push until you're 1000% sure that you're pushing in the right direction. And one more thing, it's about devotion, not discipline. Don't force yourself to do the things you'd rather not do because you want to earn a gold star for being the best behaved kid in class. Do it because you love yourself and you're devoted to your success. Devote yourself to who you will be tomorrow. How can you make them? Devote yourself to who you will be tomorrow. How can you make their life easier, even if that means a sacrifice now? And love yourself the way an ideal lover would. So that's all that I have for you today. If this resonated, please leave a comment, interact with this video in whatever way makes sense for you. I'll leave my links down below to the rest of my social media, stuff like that. I'll be posting other videos, non-tarot videos on YouTube, and tomorrow I'll be back with another morning message. Bye-bye.